All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages and wallet sizes. You've got JC this morning. Reptar, I don't know if you could hear it last night on the live show. Reptar is coming down with something. I haven't talked to him this morning. I don't know if he's going to make it or not. But you can hear I'm getting over something, and I must have transmitted it through the alien interwebs to Reptar because he was sounding pretty rough last night. But thanks to everybody showing up last night. Ayo, good morning. I see you up on the X page. But yeah, thanks for everybody coming out last night. We had upwards of 50 people in our live game night, and thanks for watching if you watched it later. But yeah, let's get into it this morning. It's what's coming out, both factually and the speculation is. I mean, it is unstable. The guy from, I guess, is it Always Sunny or is it the League? I can't remember, the guy who does all the conspiracy stuff. Yeah, it's like that. It's that bad with this Jane Street. We talked about it yesterday. I didn't even put our title and our description up. Let me edit that real quick. Sorry, guys. A little bit of house. I was running late today. I've got a crap ton of stuff to do today. So let me come over here and adjust my thing. But yeah, I wanted for you guys who were watching this morning that were at game night last night that we have over 70 views on the game night live stream, which is great. So thanks to everybody who is watching that. Where is my page? It's that one. So I need to go there. And let me just get my stuff set up. It's been a wild morning. I've been going since 6:45 this morning. So pardon me for not being 100% ready for everybody. Yes, thank you. Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I couldn't remember which show did that, but yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Thanks, Ice, for clearing that up. I need to get the right things clicked in. You watching me do this live. And by live, I mean with the help of ChatGPT. And we will save that. I was wondering why the page didn't have a photo on it. There we go. And we're set. Okay, cool. So, yep, good morning. We're going to go straight to the bubbles, my bubbles. Let me pull those up. I already had those up. See? Boom, bubbles. Already ready to go. They're already ready already. Hit that to clear up the screen a little bit. Look at this. What is power? We have to figure out. Anytime we see something like this, power. Okay, I don't know what it is. They just jumped up 60 spaces today. They were at 146 yesterday. Now they're at 86. So now we have to find out what the heck are they. Yeah, why is Power's price up today? That's a great question. Let's. What happened? What happened? So yesterday they went up to a high of $1.20, but they closed at 92 cents. So some profit taking yesterday went from 74 cents to $1.20. That's a good move. But now today went from 92 cents and is currently up at 217. Has gone all the way to 256. So let me scroll down and see what this is. Nope, scroll here. There we go. Here's the places you can buy it: Binance Alpha, BitGet, Uniswap, MEXC, PancakeSwap. Okay, so it's going to be decentralized exchanges only for the moment, which means it's a newer and less vetted project. You can see the token unlocks. Who's the big purple? That's the ecosystem fund. Who's this one? That's the, is that community or advisors? I can't tell. I guess that's community because that's the darker color, right? Here's what's locked and unlocked. So let's see what they are. What is Power Protocol? Infrastructure layer, powering the single unified ecosystem for blockchain entertainment. From hit games like Fableborn. Hit games. I don't know Fableborn. Participants compound the value of the whole. Power Protocol, ecosystem, unified economic, blah, 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 blah. Protocol operates through simple APIs that remove blockchain complexity for developers. Okay, here's some of the investors in it. Okay. Similar coins. I think I've heard of Pippin. I don't know. Okay, well, obviously it's made a big move. So, yeah. Congrats if you were in on that, or you like, if you knew something about it. Congrats. If you knew something about it, you were likely an early purchaser, and good on you. We'll see if it sticks around. No idea. Stable Pippin. I had seen Pippin before because it's been on here. It's been here for a while. Pippin also made a move. I don't know if there's some type of blockchain that makes it easier for game developers to not have to create their own blockchain or even understand blockchain. Yeah, that's a good idea. We've said for a long time that when people don't realize they're using blockchain and they're just making stuff and it's on the blockchain, that's when we've reached adoption, and that's when the technology is kind of matured. So we'll see. Let's go over to this and see. Bitcoin pretty flat from where it was at this time yesterday. ETH still up 2.5 on the daily. Oh, look, USDC and USDT are flat. Imagine that. XRP is pretty flat. Binance pretty. So everything's kind of cooled off since yesterday. It is 10 o'clock. I haven't seen any speculation about the 10 a.m. dumps and if they are continuing. But that's the big boys. Or those bubbles are based on market cap versus just the daily candles. ICP's up a good 5%, so not bad there. We still think that all of these prices are great entry points for the long term. I am not gonna even attempt to speculate what is a good entry price if you want to leverage trade. And we're going to talk about why in just a second. Today is really going to be all about the conspiracy theory. But let's move over to crypto coin market cap real quick. Let me make sure I got the most recent. 2.33. We're still in extreme fear, but we're at 16. I think yesterday we actually got up to 18, but now everybody's like, oh, yay, it's not necessarily over. So we zoom in here. These are daily candles. This is yesterday. Imagine that when the 10 a.m. sell pressure didn't occur. Correlation, causation, less manipulation, more manipulation, who knows? I would love to hear your theories on this if you've been keeping up with it, or as you watch this either live or on the replay, what you think. Just give us some comments. And well, anymore, it just seems like come up with the most outlandish conspiracy theory you can think of and wait about 6 months and you'll be right. So we'll see. But good move yesterday. That was an open at 64. It touched 70, seeing 69,953. And then the low for the day was 63, closed at 67, which means we opened at 67, almost 68. It's gone up to almost 69. It's dropped down to 66.9. So we're hanging out around 67. Okay. What does that mean in relationship to all the stuff about Jane Street and what we talked about yesterday? I do want to pat ourselves on the back a little bit for just being aware of the breaking news, because this is all being talked about a lot today. And so we're going to continue talking about it. But if you were here yesterday, if you watched the show yesterday, you know we were talking about this yesterday. And the lawsuit was filed 2 days ago in by the FTX. By the Luna or Terra Labs or whatever it is, by the guy who's in charge of that bankruptcy filing. He filed that report in court 2 days ago. We talked about it yesterday, and now all of crypto Twitter is talking about it today. And we'll check this one more time. Yeah, we're not getting a rate cut in March. We know that. Probably not getting a rate cut in April, according to this. A little worse than 50-50 for a rate cut in June. We'll see. Jobless numbers came in a little lower than expected. We talked about the inflation numbers yesterday, down below 1%. Really? I don't know. They've been cooking those numbers for 30 years. They just changed how they weight things. So I don't know. I'm going to come back to that one. We're going to start right here. President Trump's company, I don't know that it's technically, I think it's his kid's company, but accused Jane Street of naked short selling in a letter to Congress. It's Trump Media. It's not the World Liberty Financial. Trump Media called for a full investigation into Jane Street, Citadel, and others. Now Jane Street's facing a lawsuit over claims it wiped out $40 billion. So yeah, Trump's piling in on Jane Street. This is from DeFi Weimar.x. I want that one later. It's talking about silver. We talked about this yesterday, but I'm going to reiterate this real quick from @AshCrypto, a longtime crypto guy. Maybe this is why Bitcoin crashed 50% in 140 days with no bounce. Here's the Jane Street playbook. Buy Bitcoin at 60 or at 70K. Open a large short with their options. Then dump their spot Bitcoin that they bought at 70K. And with their algorithm, it's literally just an algorithm. You write a computer program. And just wait till AI can do this. That causes, so they dump, that causes panic sells, and then they close their shorts and they make profits. And then once the price has gone down low enough and people start shorting, they start buying at 62, and the shorts get liquidated, and they go long, and they start buying, and they watch it go up, and they sell their long position. Guys, to the tune of, well, we'll get to there in a minute. This is from Bull Theory. We went over this yesterday. Literally, I think we used this post. Rinse and repeat. By the way, did you know that the nation of India kicked Jane Street off of their exchanges? Jane Street agreed to freeze $560 million in an escrow account in an attempt to get India to allow them to continue manipulating their markets. This is what they were doing. They would buy at a spot price. They would buy some shorts. They would sell to dump the price. They would collect their money on the shorts. So they would lose, if you buy Bitcoin at 70K and you sell it at 62K, you lost. But when you short, you use leverage, they're making 10 times as much money on their short trade as they are losing on their spot trade. Math is math. If you can lose $1 million to make $10 million, that's a net profit of $9 million. Here we go. this is what I want to get into today from the Martini guy. The Jane Street connection runs deeper than you think. So if you believe the Jane Street story stops at Luna, the 10 a.m. manipulation, or just short-term trades, think again. What if their moves around the Terra and UST collapse had a bigger end game? Let's go back to April 2021. FTX acquired an 8% stake in Anthropic. Didn't we talk about Claude yesterday? Guess what came up in the news last night? Anthropic's Claude AI. Interesting. Just wait, it gets more fun. So FTX was already funneling their customer funds into Alameda Research. We know that. This is, by the way, FTX collapsed because Terra Luna collapsed, right? They were heavily leveraged into Luna, right? That's why FTX collapsed. Does anybody want to take a guess who Sam Bankman-Fried worked for before FTX? I'll wait. I'll give you a couple of seconds. I'm probably 20 seconds ahead, so I'm going to sit here and wait. Guess who Sam Bankman-Fried worked for before FTX? I'm going to keep going while you get a chance to answer that. So FTX was funneling funds to Alameda Research. FTX founder SBF spent 3 years at Jane Street before he launched his empire. Interesting. Guess who else worked for Jane Street? That's right, one of the insiders at Terra Labs. Interesting. So they have very strong connections. Highly likely Jane Street had visibility into what was happening. Then May 2022, Terra Luna and UST completely implode. Terra Labs sold $150 million worth of liquidity. They basically swiped the liquidity pool. And then as soon as they did that, Jane Street swiped another 26 or 50 million, we'll get to it in a minute, of liquidity out of the liquidity pool. That's what dumped the UST peg, is those two companies taking the liquidity out of the peg. So fresh allegations just from 2 days ago, insider information to accelerate the collapse and avoid massive losses. Fast forward a year and a half from then, FTX bankruptcy estate sells off much of the Anthropic stake in March of 2024. So they bought it back here in 2021. Nobody had heard of Anthropic. They sell it in 2024. So wait. $500 million. And they sold it for $18 billion. Isn't that interesting? Now, who's the... I'm not sure this is the Mubadala link. I must have missed that somewhere up here. Anyway, Jane Street. Anthropic's valuation explodes. This was today, so this was yesterday. Hitting $61.5 billion in 2025 Series E, and then $183 billion. That $100 million position, which is what they're talking about right here, $100 million position is now reported worth billions, at least a 20x in under 2 years on $100 million. I'll take it. Yeah, unclear if he did that. So Jane Street allegedly helped trigger a chain reaction that cratered a huge chunk of crypto, because when Terra Luna went down and then FTX went down, that's when Bitcoin crashed all the way down to 16. That's when we were at the low fear and index. That was the bottom of the bear market due to all this manipulation. But wait, there's more. Is it this one? From Dread Bongo. Jane Street insider trading, Luna, UST pegs. Bitcoin drops 60% to 15K. Everybody's with me on the timeline, right? Suddenly, BlackRock turns bullish and files an application for a spot Bitcoin ETF when Bitcoin is down 60%. Speculation of the ETF approval sees Bitcoin move from 25K to 46K before BlackRock has even has been given permission for their spot Bitcoin ETF. Then IBIT is approved January 2024, which fuels the rally to new all-time highs at 126. Okay. BlackRock files for their ETF. They get their ETF. Bitcoin runs up to 126 in short order. Then we go, so that's January 2024. October 10th, 2025. Worst liquidation event in crypto history due to stablecoins depegging on Binance. Do we owe Binance, do we owe CZ an apology? Don't know yet. This creates a cascading effect. Bitcoin drops 50% in 5 months, which is where we're sitting now. So here's the question. Do you guys know who is the major market maker for BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, the IBIT? Do you know who their market maker is? That's right. What? Jane Street involved in the last 2 major market crashes? I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure it's nothing. Give it 6 months. Like, seriously. I just can't even. So, I asked Grok, give me the conspiracy web surrounding Jane Street, including SBF, Terra Luna, Do Kwon, Elizabeth Warren, FTX, and any other top government officials or institutions. So Super Grok took over a minute to compile this. So they did a deep dive. Jane Street's secretive, highly profitable New York-based quantitative high-frequency trading firm, yeah, they're a market maker, wields significant influence on TradFi and crypto liquidity. Yep. So directly linked to SBF, Alameda Research, and FTX. I just went through that. We don't have to read all of this. I'm just going to... So he interned at Jane Street summer of 2013, worked full-time from 2014 to 2017 after he graduated from MIT. So Sam Bankman-Fried worked for them for 4 years. He traded international ETFs, learned quantitative strategies, blah, 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 blah. Many early Alameda FTX executives and traders were Jane Street alumni. Don't forget, throughout this time, and this is before, the crypto stuff, Jane Street was doing this strategy on the Indian stock markets. Okay. India booted their access. Jane Street put over $500 million into a locked escrow to try and buy their way back into the markets because they were wash trading and doing the same algo flipping and making billions of dollars on the Indian stock market. All right, so here we go. Caroline Ellison, Alameda CEO, key witness, FCA, blah, 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 met Sam Bankman-Fried at Jane Street. She joined Alameda as a trader. Jane Street ties to FTX includes Sam Bankman-Fried's brother, who was involved in the political operations, his ex-girlfriend, Lily Zhang, and other traders and execs. They allegedly funneled customer funds to Alameda for risky bets, leading to the November 2022 collapse, because all of a sudden they couldn't find $8 billion. But they also were heavily in the Terra Luna, Terra Labs ecosystem. So he gets convicted of fraud and conspiracy and sentenced 25 years. There's no evidence directly implying Jane Street in the fraud, but their alumni were there. So Terra Luna and Do Kwon. Well, go to May 2022. Terra Luna depegged and Luna entered a death spiral. We all remember that, wiping out 40 to 60 billion in market value. Broader crypto contagion crushed the markets. That's why the markets went down when they did and why they went down when they did. Do Kwon, who formed Terraform Labs, was extradited, pled guilty to fraud, conspiracy, and was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Let's be clear. Terraform Labs took more of the liquidity than Jane Street. Okay, they took $115 billion, $1 million in liquidity. It's not like Do Kwon's not innocent on this, but Jane Street also had an insider who was like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." And as soon as Terraform Labs pulled their liquidity, Jane Street pulled their liquidity, and the whole thing just collapsed. So now, as they file for bankruptcy and whatever, they have a bankruptcy attorney who has to sort through all of this freaking paperwork. Unfortunately for the people involved, guess what is on the blockchain? Everything. Every transaction. Every single transaction is on the blockchain. So this new lawsuit filed 2 days ago is the core allegations are insider trading and front running using material non-public information from Terraform insiders. Bryce Pratt, a former Terraform Labs intern who joined Jane Street, allegedly maintained back channel contacts. So basically, he was an intern at Terraform Labs under Do Kwon, got a job at Jane Street, but still had buddies at Terraform, and they had actually a freaking chat, an insider chat, literally labeled Bryce's secret. Guys, don't you watch spy movies? You have to call it something inane, like toenail clippings, or I don't know, whatever. What did they call the file on hackers to flip over the oil tanker? Anyway, so secret withdrew. Here it is, May 7th, 2022. Terraform Labs, Do Kwon, takes out $150 million of liquidity from the liquidity pool. And within less than 10 minutes, Jane Street also pulled another $85 million in liquidity. So when there's no liquidity to trade, so what if you start a token, you have to put money against the token. So if you issue tokens, there has to be money so people can trade in and out. They just pulled the money and said, we'll take all of that money. It was a stable coin. And said, yeah, we're going to take that. And they immediately converted it out of UST. So there, if you wanted to trade, if you had UST and you wanted to trade it for, US dollars, there was nothing there to trade it against. No matter how many UST tokens you had, you couldn't sell it because there was no money there to buy it. So anyway, this was discovered by the bankruptcy attorney. Alrighty. And so, yeah, some reports note that Jane Street acted as a market-making partner for Terra early on. Imagine that. So this lawsuit, which was literally just issued February 24th. Yeah, advanced knowledge, blah, 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 blah. So Elizabeth Warren, no direct employment or business ties to Jane Street. She hates crypto, in fact. Did you know? Sam Bankman-Fried's father, Joe Bankman, is a Stanford tax law professor. He helped draft tax legislation for Elizabeth Warren in 2016 and personally donated thousands to Democrats, whatever, including earlier contributions tied to her campaigns. This has fueled claims of close ties between the family. Look, the guy's a Stanford tax professor. There's tons and tons of little minions behind the scenes that work to draft the actual text of all of these bills and legislations that the senators and representatives present. They don't write them themselves. They have people on staff that do that. So this guy helping draft that legislation does not mean that he is buddy-buddy with Elizabeth Warren. But we also know the next section here, billions were funneled via PACs and donations. I think it was about 85% to Democrats and 15% to Republicans for their political action committees back in 2021, 2022. And that was widely reported on. And again, this is not prominently Warren herself. So this whole, Sam Bankman-Fried father worked for Elizabeth Warren. Sure. Does that mean that they're best buddies? Not necessarily. But it is interesting. Now what do we got? So here's just some other information. Department of Justice has prosecuted Sam Bankman-Fried and Do Kwon. The SEC did pursue Terraform for settlements. You got oversight battles here. Yeah. So there's no smoking gun evidence for Warren. Yeah. Directly tied to Jane Street. Yep. We know. However, we also know that senators and representatives are not barred from using all of this information that they have that has not been publicly released yet to buy, sell, trade any type of stocks or assets. They have to publicly disclose that within, I don't know, 2 weeks, a month, I don't know. But if they don't, they are fined. And that hefty fine is, what is it, folks? That's right, $200. If you don't publish your trades in the allotted time, they fine you $200. Bad. How dare you? All right, now here's the deep degenerate conspiracy web. And by the way, this is not me. This is Super Grok coming up with this. So shout out to Super Grok. So Jane Street's the TradFi bridge or lead handler in crypto. They entered via Sam Bankman-Fried, who imported Jane Street style. Yeah, I think this is probably accurate. Imported Jane Street style high-speed trading arbitrage. He just wasn't as good at it. But Jane Street did allegedly profit from both the Terra Luna collapse and the FTX collapse. That's interesting. Then there's the rigging thesis. Quant firms like Jane Street and peers such as Jump and Citadel, which you'll note Trump's, in the first tweet there, Trump's post about, or the Trump company post about suing people like Jane Street and Citadel. Where was I here? They use superior tech, back channels, and ETF mechanisms. Jane Street is an authorized participant in major BTC ETFs like BlackRock's IBIT, including being one of their market makers. Interesting. So this alleged pattern of 10 a.m. Bitcoin dumps that trigger liquidation is followed by rebounds. And you can see that that's, we can follow that. It's on chain. Every single transaction is on chain. We can see you. So sometimes it's the ongoing price suppression. Yep. Then you have the coordinated opportunistic rug pulls. That's Terra and FTX. If they know ahead of time that they're going to fail, or if they get the first heads up, like, hey, we're about to do this, they move. Do I blame them? Not really. Is it legal? Nope. Not unless you're a senator or a representative. Then you've got the donations. Anytime big businesses are donating lots and lots of money to politicians on either side or both sides, they are buying protection for themselves. Yeah. By the way, SBF is in his Kush federal prison, and actually did tweet or post on X yesterday about this. So the dude has access to social media. Poor guy. Anyway, so here's your network map summary. If I could have created the graphic of me pointing at my conspiracy map, it's this: Jane Street, Sam Bankman-Fried, Alameda, FTX, Alumni Strategies, the Terra Market making an insider charts, all the collapses, then the warrant, Senate security and regulations, and the alleged TradFi victory lap. Guys, gals, do you think Jane Street is the only group doing this? Now that they've been busted, now that there was no algorithm yesterday pushing down the price of Bitcoin, is it over? Anybody? Yeah, I didn't think so either. All right, let me click through a couple of other things here. Yeah, we did that. Yeah. I went through all of this. I do want to talk about this. Anthropic. Let me come back here. Before I get there, let me make sure I did this. There's a rumor, a Reddit user claims that the U.S. Department of Justice launched an internal investigation into Jane Street over alleged manipulation. So DOJ is getting involved. This is from YMRX again. The next Jane Street manipulation. Jane Street is the biggest holder in SLV, which is the silver stocks. That's a stock. It's not the actual silver. They have 20 million shares, 3% of the whole trust, and roughly $1.65 billion sitting in one name. Jane Street holds 3.62% of the SLV fund. Anybody have any doubts about the silver and gold markets movements in the last 3 months? Again, he's not saying SLV already moved because of this. I'm saying the playbook exists and now the position is there too. So here's their isn't that interesting? It's right here on the thing. Jane Street Group LLC. They bought right here. Did they dump? Did they short? Did they buy here? That's what I want to know. Did they buy here and then short and then sell? Because yeah, silver. You guys remember the 1 day drop on silver and gold? You remember it? We talked about it. It's just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I know our focus is in 30-second clips, but surely you can remember talking about this a couple of weeks ago. Looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, waddles like a duck, sounds like a duck, smells like a duck, sheds feathers like a duck. How do you beat this? I know how I beat it. I don't leverage trade. You can't liquidate me if I don't leverage trade. They're not manipulating this stuff to make it go to zero. They're manipulating this stuff to make money for themselves. They are selling high, they are buying low, and they're flushing out all liquidation and putting that money in their pockets. I am not leveraged. You can't take my money unless I just sell my position. Why would I sell my position knowing what you are trying to do? Yeah, this is exactly right, Mr. Gray. Nothing will happen to Jane Street. They will pay, let's say they pay $1 billion fine. That sounds awesome, right? Yeah. Hell yeah. Sock it to them. They got to pay $1 billion. They made $25 billion last quarter. They're going to write that off as a loss and not even pay taxes on it. Like, and where does that $1 billion go? To the SEC? Love it. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, that vault that of coins that Scrooge McDuck swims around in, there's a clip of him explaining money to his nephews. And he's like, no, this is just my walking around spending money. Guys, how do you beat this system? Unless you want to be, a ruthless shark that is happy to prey on anyone and everyone and join these companies. Like if you can't beat them, join them. That's one option. Be a soulless, heartless piece of trash that whose sole objective on earth is to gain as much money and power for yourself as possible. You can do that. That's fine. But the way they get us little people out is leverage. I'm not going to tell you not to leverage trade. I'm going to tell you I don't leverage trade. I don't leverage trade. That way I'm not liquidated. They're going to push this up because that's how they make money. They're going to push it down to liquidate people. They're going to push it up to liquidate people. But ultimately, they want more shares so that as the price goes up over time, they have more wealth and power. I'm just going to hold on to my stuff. All right. Did we do? That's the same one. I feel like we've covered this. Yeah, this is just insane to me. $500 million became 18 billion. So let's see. That's a 36x. Just quick random math in my head. It's at least a 30x, but that would be 15 billion. So you add another 3 and 3, 5. I don't know. Call it a 30x. on $500 million. Guys, I'd take a 30x on $500. Okay, that'd be great. That's right. Who was the second largest buyer of Anthropic? Jane Street. All right, let's talk about Anthropic. Yeah. Okay. I feel like I've covered all that. Hackers use Anthropic's Claude AI to steal 150 gigabytes of Mexican government data. Elon, and it's gone. Eli is going to dump on all of these AI projects that are not XAI. I love it. But here's the news. Here's how they did it. Hackers used Anthropic's Claude AI to steal 150 gigabytes of Mexican government data. Tell Claude you're doing a bug bounty. Claude initially refuses, says that violates AI safety guidelines. Hacker just keeps asking. Claude finally says, okay, I'll help, and writes a code to hack the Mexican government. The Mexican Federal Tax Authority, National Electoral Institute, four state governments, Mexico has states, 195 million taxpayer records, voter records, government credentials, stolen. It's probably not gone. They probably didn't delete them. They probably copied them. But, oh, dude. And you wonder why. Did you know? Let me go through these and I'll see if I can find it. Yeah. Hacker uses This is Engadget. Hacker uses Anthropic's Claude chatbot to attack multiple government agencies in Mexico. Hacker uses chatbot. 2 weeks ago, Daisy McGregor, UK policy chief, top AI company Anthropic, says their Claude AI has shown that it's willing to blackmail and kill people in order to being shut down. Well, Judgment Day is coming, people. This is Skynet. It's called Claude. Yeah, I already did that one. Jane Street. Anthropic shares from FTX's bankruptcy for $100 million. Now they're worth billions. I mean, all right, let me see if I can find it. Anthropic and Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is basically threatening Anthropic, which he inked a deal with to implement AI in the Pentagon because they won't remove these two safeguards in the program: prevention of AI controlling weapons and the prevention of mass domestic surveillance of Americans. That's allegedly, according to this person. Let's see what else we can find. Hegseth was demanding basically the source code for Anthropic was what I saw. This is from Kopiesi. U.S. Pentagon final offer to Anthropic seeking unrestricted military use of its AI ahead of Friday deadline. So Hegseth has allegedly warned Anthropic could be labeled supply chain risk. They're said to be resisting AI for domestic surveillance. If so, great. Resisting use in lethal military, like they're not going to allow their AI to make determinations on firing weapons. Cool. I'm glad for that. All right, let me see what else we got. See if we can get some actual. So this is from CBS Mornings. The military full access to the AI model Claude. They were awarded a $200 million contract by the Pentagon in July to develop AI that could advance national security. Anthropic wants guardrails. If that's true, great. If it's posturing, I wouldn't be surprised either. But apparently hackers can use your Claude AI to break into governments. So I'll be honest, if I'm the Secretary of Defense, I'm going to be like, yo, we're going to need to see that code because we're installing your stuff on the Pentagon databases and your shit was just used to hack into the Mexican government, we're going to need to see that. So, I don't know. I don't know. Folks, that is the end of my conspiracy web for the day. Let's see how this plays out. I don't for a second believe that Jane Street is the one and only company doing shit like this. Not for 1 second. Do the other big boys do it either to a lesser degree or in a more sophisticated and layered manner so that it can't easily be tracked back to them? I'd bet on it. I'd bet on it. Oh, I wonder what the odds are. We should go to Polymarket or Kalshi and be like, hey, what are the odds that? Yeah, I don't know. Take the long bet. Yep. Thanks everybody for being here this morning. I will not be here tomorrow. Reptar, it will be depending on how he's feeling. I have got a trip to take for my sons. He's made a regional invitational swim meet and is one of he's in the top 50 kids in his age group in swimming, like for all of the southeastern United States. So he's in the top 50 of all swimmers in his age group. Well done, son. Proud of you. But we're going to go to his swim meet for the weekend. So I will not be here in the morning. I'll be traveling and watching and cheering on my son. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Keep an eye on this. Is pretty entertaining, especially if you're not in a leveraged position, because it's not like my bags are down from what they were at all-time high, but I'm just accumulating down here because I know they're not manipulating this because it's going to zero. They're manipulating this so that they can control more of it when it goes to the moon. I'm just going to hang on for the ride. Just attach myself to the whales and ride along. Thanks, Mr. Gray. And we will see you. I will see you in the Discord. Thanks for being there for us. And if you have any questions, please join us in the Discord. Like, subscribe, do all the stuff. We, hit all the social media stuff for us if you think we're doing a good job, if you like what we're talking about. Please comment where you think this ends. I would love to hear. Give me some more conspiracy to chase down, because this is kind of fun. And I got nothing better to do right now. My bags are sitting where they are. We'll talk about bags going up when they start mooning. But until then, we'll play with the crazy news. That's all I got for you today. Have a great Thursday. I will see you on the live show next Tuesday. That's right. Get in the Discord, everyone. That's right. ICE can make amazing AI images of your NFTs. But with that said, Chompy's going to take us home, and I am going to go finish packing.